Yeah, I love every time like there's a lull and they think they're safe. Guinam just like climbs over the wall. He's like, here I am.
I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back, baby. Annyeonghaseyo. Welcome to Afternoona Delight. We're Leah, Megan, and Amy, romance novelists and your K-romance guides. So grab some dekboki and listen to your new favorite unnies.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hi there.
Happy Halloween.
Ooh. I look like a ghost, so that's me.
I know you.
I turned down the brightness on my screen to try, and it defined me for like a minute, and now I'm like ghostly again. I'm not going to be a ghost.
It's okay. You don't really like the sunlight that much.
I don't. I'm a vampire. I do not like the out of doors.
So, do we have any Halloween costumes planned?
Or Halloween?
And what are they?
Or Halloween plans planned?
Yeah, or plans.
Your plans?
I have both plans.
Okay.
I have plans and costumes.
Same.
All right. Well, out of courtesy to you being the, elder of the group, you can go first.
The ghost elder. So I did not used to get into Halloween because it's never been like my super favorite holiday. Even when I was a kid, I liked it when I was little, but like once I got to be like, preteen and teen, I think I fell out of it a little bit. And it was fun like dressing up my kids and helping them with their costumes, but no, I never really got into it. And then one of my local friends who is a newer friend, like in the past 5 years, like she, moved to the neighborhood when our daughters were in 7th grade and they're juniors now. Halloween is like her favorite. Like she's got one of those like 12-foot skeletons from Home Depot that she like puts, it's crazy, and she loves it. So she has a Halloween party every year, and like you can't go if you don't dress up. And so now she and I and our other friend, we always do like a triplet, kind of costume. Like one year we did 80s prom, and we just went to Goodwill and bought like prom dresses and stuff like that, and it was a lot of fun. But this year, I'm actually really excited because we're going to be Disney villains.
I'm jealous.
And I'm going to be Cruella.
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
But like Emma Stone Cruella. So I got this Cruella wig that like for like $15 on Amazon. I'm like, this is going to be a piece of shit. And it is awesome. Like I'm obsessed with it. And this mask, because she does this. I looked at a makeup tutorial for it and I can't, but like it's this black painted on mask that she has that says the future on it because she's like a fashionista. And then the outfit is just like a black leather jacket, black top, and like tight black pants. And I've got all that. So yes, I'm going to be Cruella and I'm pretty stoked. And then my friends are going to be Maleficent and Mother Gothel.
That is awesome.
So I'm excited. I really am. I don't usually get excited to dress up, but I am.
What about you, Leah?
Okay, so I'm going to be Dory for Halloween. And there's a little bit of a background to it because Finding Nemo's fine, but that's not what's driving the decision. So, as you know, I like BTS a lot. And a couple of days ago,
I know.
Namjoon broke the internet because he took a shot of himself in the bathtub. And that's pretty racy for Namjoon. So we see like some bare feet. And we see like a finger heart.
Oh my God.
And then,
feet pics.
Yeah, feet pics. And and he's in the tub. Yeah. And then in the background is a little Dory.
Aww.
And it's a nightlight. And apparently this little Dory sold out in like 2 seconds. It's like completely gone now.
But also Megan's like going, aw, and no, everybody made it super dirty.
Yeah, it got very, very dirty. And so, like, people just kept being, like, Dory, like, memes, like, the things I've seen. And then somebody's like,
that's funny.
You know I have short-term memory loss, right?
Oh, my God, that's funny.
So, anyway, I just decided that would be, like, a fun for me where I will look very G-rated, but really I'm just being, like, the nasty pervert Dory that's, like, seen it all in Namjoon's bathtub. But I'm going to look completely school-appropriate.
I love it.
Yeah, I love that.
And so, yeah. And then beyond that, I really like Halloween. We decorate our house for Halloween. Of course, because, if anyone's listened to our pod for a while, we are not buying a 12-foot skeleton from Home Depot, although I would. My husband is very anti buying decorations. So we get to make them ourselves.
I was like, so she just doesn't clean and gets cobwebs all over the place.
No, I do buy cobwebs. He does not like it, but I do. But we now have like reusable graves that, I mean, look, it's cute. They're like, he's made them. The kids can write on them every year. There's like all these handmade tree things that are like, like little goblins hanging in the trees, like crafted out of wood that I don't know. So that's the life I live. And so we have a fun, it's fun enough. It's festive enough. I wanted to get Halloween lights to hang up. He thought that was too much consumerism and I didn't need to buy them. So, so we are not getting fun Halloween lights, but Christmas is just around the corner.
Does he cobble his beautiful mountain bikes together?
He's like out there mining
consumerism,
the fiberglass,
the fiberglass and tin or whatever. It's the aluminum frame. Yes, thank you. And then we're going to be doing like the school has spooky story night, which I really enjoy. And so they like divide up the story content into 1 shiver, 2 shiver, or 3 shivers. And so you can like select how spooky you want to go. And like the 3 shivers, always the monkey's paw. And I love the monkey's paw.
Oh, I love that. I love that story.
And we're going to see Hotel Transylvania.
Oh,
and,
that's cute.
Here's one thing, though, that is kind of, I guess it shouldn't be a surprise about me, but somehow I missed Hocus Pocus growing up.
I did too,
Me
Leah.
too.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
My daughter's like, Mom, you have to watch it because she watched it. And I'm like, because now there's a 2 and I've never seen it.
Oh,
yeah,
see, I've seen it now, but I mean, I'm kind of like, I saw it as an adult. The magic wasn't there. Really.
Right.
And so now like the 2's coming and I'm like, I mean, like it's fine, but I'm not like dying over it.
Yeah. When we were in Salem, there was this whole in Salem, Massachusetts, there was this whole Hocus Pocus tour. Everywhere we went, there was Hocus Pocus paraphernalia. And I'm just like, I don't know. And I realized that I guess they filmed some scenes in Salem. So I had no idea, but you can do a whole tour. And if you're really into it, and clearly there are people who are. Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. I've watched it. And I mean, I'm grumpy and this is it's fine holiday. It's just, I don't have that magic I would have had if I watched it when I was 6.
Right.
I watched that the more violent witch one. The one with
the craft.
Oh, the witches.
Yeah.
The craft.
The craft.
The craft is
awesome.
awesome.
Oh, okay.
So I'm a craft girl.
Yeah, same.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See, I haven't seen The Craft either. I need to see that.
Oh, The Craft is really
just
good. And I bet you it holds up. I would watch that
it's
again.
It's Fairuza Balk.
Yep, Fairuza Balk and
I love her.
And is it and Robin Tunney and Rachel
God,
True.
I don't even know who any of those people are, but good.
There's no reason why I should.
If you saw Fairuza Balk, you'd know.
Yes, you would.
She's very recognizable. As soon as you saw her, you'd be like, oh, okay, you just probably don't know her name.
Well, okay, I will tell you what I like, and I'm going to give you a fun fact that will blow at least Amy's mind, I think. So I really like, my favorite Halloween show is Nightmare Before Christmas. I love it. It's my favorite. It's one of my favorite movies as well.
I like that one.
Do you know that Sally's voice in Nightmare Before
Is
Christmas
Catherine O'Hara?
Yes!
Of course I do.
Well, I had no idea. Am I meant to know that? Is the voice? Because I mean, I do talk about how sometimes I'm I have vocal deafness. I can't understand. I don't know when people
I don't think I knew it because it sounded like her. It does not sound like her. I will agree with that. But I found out because I'm one of those people. Every time I watch a movie that's animated, I need to know everybody's voice. I look it up. I need to know. If I can't figure it out, it drives me crazy. I need to know.
Right.
So I've known since the first time I saw the movie, but I agree that, I mean, especially knowing her as Moira Rose, you don't hear it like that.
Mm-mm. But yeah, so that was my fun fact. But I'm excited. I do like to watch that every year.
Yeah.
That is a fun one.
All right, Megan, what are you going to be?
Well, look, I just want to be invited to a Halloween party. I don't understand how I'm not friends with people who don't have Halloween parties. That's all I want. So
why don't you host one?
I know. And, this is the only issue is that my son's birthday is right around Halloween. So it's usually we're doing his birthday party and at the same weekend. It just always throws things off. And he's also not a big costume person. So it's not he wants to have a costume party.
Okay.
So in the future though, I think I will. But anyway, so I swear, even before this podcast, I was I think this year I might be an All of Us Are Dead character. I just have to find a Korean like
school uniform.
Uniform.
Oh yeah, that'll be so easy.
I know. I know. I mean, I could probably recreate it, sort of, but I love like putting blood on my face. Like, I love like getting like looking like I've been like ravaged by a zombie. It was funny when I was in like elementary school for 3 years. I was like a zombie soccer player because that's all I wanted to be. Like, all the other girls were dressing in like princess costumes, and I'm not trying to be like, I'm not like the other girls. Like, yeah. I wish I was like the other girls. Like, what was wrong with me?
Like, I want to be an Eton.
3 years I wore my brother's soccer uniform and was like a zombie soccer player. But anyway, my other option is my daughter is being a green M&M with her friend who is being a blue M&M. So maybe I'll just be an M&M and walk around with them. I will say I love Halloween. Like in PA, like Halloween trick-or-treat night. Our last neighborhood was amazing. Like, I'm talking, people would sit out in their driveways with like, again, I live in Pennsylvania, so it's cold here. In California, you know, people with heaters in their driveways. But around here, they have like heaters, and they're all bundled up, and some of them have like scary music speakers. And in our last neighborhood, there's this one woman who, no lie, her whole front room of her house was like decked out in like spooky stuff. She had like a dining room table with these like dressed up skeletons, and so she like brought the kids in.
Oh my god!
And they could like pick out candy on the table. It was so cool.
That's like, that's an episode of Modern Family. Did you ever watch Modern Family?
Yeah.
Remember the Halloween where like they would bring the kids in and they had like a little like mini haunted house set up to try and scare everybody.
That's what she did. Yeah. Except, I mean, it was really cool. There was also a house that had the lights that you turn into a radio station, and the lights coincide with the music. So when we moved last year, I was like, oh my God, I'm worried the neighborhood isn't going to be as good. Because our last neighborhood was so good for Thanksgiving, and my kids loved it. Or I mean, for Halloween. Like, actually, there was this...
Megan goes door to door for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. At our last neighborhood, there was a woman who, no lie, would go to the dollar store every year. And then she had an entire, like, 8-foot table just full of dollar store toys that they could pick out. It was crazy.
That's cute.
Yeah, so I was a little worried. And so when we had Halloween last year, I was like, okay, I really hope, this is just as fun. We went to the first house, which was across the street. And the house had just been built. And the woman comes out. She lives alone. And she's like, you're my first trick-or-treaters. And she gave them money? I was like,
oh my God.
I'm going trick-or-treating.
I know. And then we walked throughout the neighborhood, and it was phenomenal. Like, I'm talking same thing. Like, people in their driveways, big things of candy. Just the neighborhood really went like all out. A lot of houses were really spooky, and it just made me so happy because it's just really, I enjoy it. Like, I like seeing my kids have a good time and run from house to house, and it's one of their favorite nights of the year too. So I don't have exciting plans, but there's trick or treat night, and I like it as much as my kids, and I steal all their Reese's peanut butter cups.
So I get those too because my kids don't like peanut butter because they're weird. Somebody in PA, please invite Megan to a party.
Yeah, what the heck?
Megan just wants to go to a party.
Right.
I just want to dress up and go to a party, and you don't have to invite my whole family.
No, just you.
Yeah, like my husband doesn't really like to dress up, so just take me. But anyway, so that's what I'm looking forward to. We will see what I end up being in the end. Maybe just an M&M, but that's okay.
So you both have kids who still like dress up cute and stuff like that, where
Yeah.
I've got a 13 and a almost 17-year-old, and my daughter's like, she's like kind of hemming and hawing, like, is she going to dress up as something? And her and her friends might actually do Spider-Man villains. But my son just cares about the candy, right? But he knows he has to wear something. So he's like, I got a Walter White mask. So goes freaking Walter White.
So my
with
son,
a pillowcase.
Actually, okay, so you're being nicer than me because my son was like, I'm going to go as Walter White and my best friend's going to go as Jesse, and I forbade. I said, you absolutely are not allowed
I'm
to.
sitting and watching like Better Call Saul with him last night. So like, I can't, like, what am I going to do?
Yeah, he wanted to get blue Pop Rocks and put them in a bag, and I was like 100% no.
My son did that, not at my house, at his dad's house, and his sister like Snapchatted it, and I saw the snap of it, and this is really funny because she and I used to share an Apple ID, so some of her snaps ended up on my phone, and I showed that to her. I'm like, I don't care if this disappears in 10 seconds. I'm like, you can't, like it said cooking meth, and it was my son in his like Walter White like coveralls making rock candy,
Yeah,
making
100%.
rock candy.
Oh,
And I'm like, at his dad's house, I will say that again, at his dad's house. Because you're not making fake meth at my house.
Fake meth.
Oh my God.
No, Amy. Oh God. I do remember, like, I do think it's funny, the kids who come, like, they're clearly teenagers. They're like, their voices have changed. And they're like wearing just a wolf mask, and they have like an old pillowcase. And they're like, trick or treat. I'm just like, you can take 3 pieces of candy. Like, I don't care.
It's the last like leg of being a child, you know?
Yeah, and you know
Halloween.
what? If that's what they're doing, they're not getting in trouble.
Exactly.
You know, they're just getting candy. It's okay.
Right. But yeah, so Leah, don't tell your son that my son's going as Walter White. I just kind of like threw my hands in the air. I was like, whatever. And I mean, I don't go trick-or-treating with him, so I don't have to be mortified, like standing by him, you know?
Okay. You know, I'm horror stricken at
Teenagers being Walter White.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not that prude, but like,
yeah,
maybe. So yeah. And so I think clearly, you know, this is our Halloween special. Mm-hmm. And because of such, we decided that we were going to discuss a, you know, more of like a horror thriller type of drama, correct?
Yep.
I think we're on the same theme as last year, but this year it's a scary one. Last year it was not a scary one.
I think it might just be our perennial.
Yeah. Oh, last year was Zombie Detective.
Yes. Which
there's the
is in my bottom 3. Is in my bottom 3 of all dramas I've ever watched.
Yeah. So in the drama we're discussing tonight, there are 0 boar fights. I just want
with video game scoring.
And I have to say that truly, you know, we're going to get into it, but I will say at this point, it's in like my top 2 dramas for 2022 at this point.
Yeah. I still think it might be my favorite I've watched in 2022. So let's get into it. As we said, welcome to our Halloween special where we are discussing a thriller that is nonstop, pulse pounding, and constant heartstring pulling. All of Us Are Dead is a 2022 Netflix drama that is based on a webtoon of the same name by Ju Dong-gun. So, in All of Us Are Dead, a science teacher attempts to infect his son with an enhancement that will make him tougher so he stands up to his bullies. But the experiment fails, as the enhancement turns his son into a zombie. The virus spreads when an infected rat bites a student, and in no time, zombies overrun a high school. Without food, water, or communication to the outside, a group of students fight to survive or else become one of the infected. Meanwhile, you have a dad fighting all the odds to rescue his daughter and a police duo who team up with a YouTuber to enter It is. That's a really funny plot line. To enter the zombie-ridden school to find the experiment notes so an antidote can be invented. So I, Megan, watched this drama before Amy and Leah. I watched this like way back when it first came out, which was like January or February. And my impression of the trailers was that it was just going to be kind of like a gory, action-filled romp, which is totally up my alley. Like I was down for that. What I didn't expect was for this drama to suck me in, make me care about every character and hate some others, and punch me in the gut with feels. I will say, too, when I watched it, I was thinking, am I nuts for thinking that this is as good as it is? Like, I really wanted Amy and Leah to see it because I'm like, I need to be validated. So there are some layers to All of Us that we'd like to explore. But first, we're going to discuss this drama without spoilers, which is going to be hard to do. It only clocks in at 12 episodes, and a lot happens in 12 episodes. But we'll let you know when we move on to the spoiler section. So, first of all, there's a pretty large cast of students and also adults. Among the cast, who do you think you'd be in a zombie apocalypse and why?
I think we've talked about this before, and I've fully admitted that I am not the fastest runner. And while my virtual boxing skills might be impressive to the small population of people who pay attention to my supernatural leaderboard, the speed and accuracy of my virtual fists will not win the war against actual zombies. So, on the student side, I identified a lot with Oh Jun-young, and he may not be the biggest or strongest, but he came up with some pretty smart plans, and I'm a planner.
Yeah.
Like, there are times when the group of survivors get separated, and there's one particular time when one of the main characters is missing for a long time, and he had the brilliant idea to use a drone from the science lab to look for him. And I thought that was really cool.
I agree. And I also just I loved that because I also think it was a smart way to get the viewer to understand the scope of the issue.
Yes, because you got to see what was going on without them having to dodge the zombies.
Yeah, it was just a smart writing and cinematography trick.
Absolutely.
But I don't think I've seen a drone view of zombies before.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. It was. Cool. And on the adult side, I 100% identify with Anju's dad, played by Jun Bae-soo, the dad of dads of late, as we just saw him in Extraordinary Attorney Woo as Woo Young-woo's father. He was one of the few adults that did not give up on the kids. And even though I'm not the strongest or fastest, I'm a good planner, like I said, and would figure something out to save my freaking children and their friends. I would not leave them in a zombie-infected school.
So mine has a slight spoiler, but look, honestly, the majority of people in this drama, like, there's no surprise from the title. Like, there's lots of zombies getting made.
Yes.
So look, I want to be scrappy, but you know, what you put me to was like this cast in itself. So I had to be honest that when I looked at this whole cast, I decided that I probably would be most like Park Soon-hwa, who was one of the teachers. And this was a teacher who was left to deal with like the bitchy infighting and even murdering that goes on between other students as she's trying to like keep their spirits up and get them to survive. So I really feel like I would end up being the adult in the room trying to remind others of their common humanity. I just feel like maybe that's too relatable to my job at the moment, but I could just see me in there like trying to like work some mediation out.
That would be you for sure.
I think both of those fit you guys. I would say like teenage me, like high school me, would be like Anjo, I think. I would be like just missing my dad, wanting to call my mom and cry.
Sure you would.
I absolutely would. And just like crying over my friends who are dying. And that's not a spoiler, okay? The title is All of Us Are Dead. A lot of people die. So just so you know going in. And I don't know. I feel like if I'm an adult, I wish I would be like her dad. And I think I would be, because I just feel like in times of crisis, I do feel like I just want to like circle in, and like I'd want to know exactly like where my loved ones are. And I would feel like knowing my daughter was like, or son, but I just mean in that case, you know, it was his daughter, knowing they were out there unprotected would just eat. I would need to know where they are. Like I would need to circle the wagons, and I would not be able to rest until I did. But I'm also not like skilled, and I probably get killed along the way. Okay, so All of Us Are Dead has an extended cast that features many adults, but the main cast is a group of high school students, obviously. During filming, some of the actors themselves were teenagers. Some of them were like 19, while most were in their early 20s, and then, of course, a few that were older. So, you know, I guess, like, what did you think about the choice to focus on high school students, and were the characters believable as teenagers to you?
I mean, I 100% believe these actors were teens. I think they were all fantastic, and they played, I mean, they were like set up to be teenage stereotypes, but in a way that didn't make them seem like caricatures. Most of them also quickly let go of like their high school status or lack thereof, and they came together to work as a cohesive unit where almost everyone was out for the group and not just out for themselves. And that's why I think it's really cool that they focused on kids rather than adults here, because I feel like, you know, we don't give enough credit to teens as far as being able to adapt and be resilient. And these kids definitely adapted to the situation. They were as resilient as you could be when you are in a losing situation and you keep losing and keep losing some more. We still got to see what the adults were doing, you know, as the secondary cast. And I have to say, and I think this was part of it, and you know, we're going to speak to this in a minute, but like the kids showed more humanity and resourcefulness than the adults did. The adults were looking for a quick fix, whereas the kids were looking for a way to survive.
Yeah. So I have seen like some of the criticisms of the show is like relating to some of the character choices, and like, look, they were teens, they were high schoolers, and I agree with Amy, but they did act like teens, they talked like teens. You know, they still kind of had like petty arguments that reminded me that, oh yeah, they're teenagers. And I feel like to a degree at the beginning, as teenagers, they really did have trouble grasping like the entirety of the situation,
Sure.
like how actually devastating this was. They didn't know what was going on the outside, and they fully believed adults would come and rescue them. And, just all of it led me to believe that this is how teenagers would act. They would listen to whatever they were told from adults in the first place and then wait for rescue, which we're going to get into in a minute why we think that is so deep for this drama.
So, yeah, we've all kind of talked about the fact that what we've seen, it hasn't been overtly stated, but what we've seen is that this drama is commonly understood to be an allegory of the Sewol ferry disaster. And, we can discuss it, but I think that we all kind of agree that it checks out.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Just for some context, on April 16th, 2014, the ferry was traveling from Incheon to Jeju Island, and there were 476 people on board, and 250 of them were high school students taking a class field trip. The ferry was unstable because illegally the owners of the boat had kind of messed with the makeup of the boat, and it had led to excessive cargo loading, and things were like improperly secured. And then there was a point in the journey where the first mate made a sharp turn, overcorrected a turn, and the whole thing tipped, and then the cargo basically fell on its side, and the whole boat began to go on its side and capsize. The ship, as you can see, like famous photos of, like is basically sideways in the water. And when the boat does capsize, many of the students stayed in their cabins below deck because on the ship's intercom, the captain was telling people to stay put. And they found recovered cell phone footage showing students doing kind of what you would imagine students to do in the situation. Some are very serious and they're leaving messages, kind of understanding the gravity of the situation and talking to parents saying how they love them. Some folks are joking around. But what's really striking, I think, in this tragedy, I mean, there's lots of striking things, but one is that against conventional wisdom, where we see like, the captain going down with the ship or really trying to stay to make sure folks can like be rescued. This captain was one of the first, and the crew were some of the first rescued off the boat. And this ultimately led to the fact of them being charged and convicted for murder. And a lot of the crew also convicted on charges of abandonment and violating ship safety acts. So in the end, 476 people were on the ship and 304 died, making it the deadliest ferry disaster that South Korea had seen in 44 years. And look, without getting into like too many like real spoilers, there's a lot of unsettling parallels from the ferry tragedy. Like we see adults evacuating via helicopter, kids recording poignant goodbyes, kids also tying themselves together by the wrist to stay close. There was boyfriend-girlfriend couple they found in the water who had actually tied themselves together to try to like stay together in the water. We see like all the ribbons set out for the dead and the missing. But really at its core, what the story is and why I think, I have come around in zombie shows from, when we first began Afternoona. I do like zombie shows a lot more than I did. But really what this is, Megan was talking about being like a gory romp, and of course it is. But really what it's about is like innocence being lost. These are all kids who believed that help was going to come, and that adults who were older and wiser would figure out solutions and prevail, and that the world around them made sense. And throughout the course of this drama, we see that the veil is pulled away and they're stuck with the most terrifying truth of all, and that's that they are left to their own fates.
Yeah, well said. After I watched this drama, I was so taken with it that I started doing some research, and that's when I found that there were parallels to the ferry disaster. So then I started doing a lot of research about the ferry disaster. I watched a lot of YouTube videos, read a lot of articles. If it's not too triggering for you, listeners, I do recommend it, just at least to like honor, especially the kids who lost their lives, other passengers, and there was also a rescue diver who lost his life. So, there are so many parallels, and it really felt like this drama was trying to pay homage to those students who died, and I agree with Leah that there is so much about this drama that's like, oh my God, I've been abandoned, and by people who I thought were looking out for me and would put my best interests first. And I agree, that's kind of like a loss of innocence, because I mean, I always felt like when I was growing up, like, you know, parents were always right, or adults were always right. And it's really hard to like get to adulthood, and like I'm an adult and I'm like, okay, I'm not always right. And I know plenty of adults who definitely are self-serving and act in their own best interest, and that's it. And, you know, and also we're all just human and not perfect. But yeah, this drama, that's one of the reasons I love this drama so much, is because, again, I expected just kind of like not a fun, but like a gory zombie movie, and I got something with so much depth that has stuck with me now. Absolutely. For like, it's been almost a year and I still think about this drama.
I also want to just kind of add to that the idea of it taking place at a school too. Kids spend most of their waking hours during the week at school. That is their home away from home. They expect that those are, you know, almost like the surrogate family that's going to take care of them. So there is this sort of, you know, taking for granted the fact that, well, when I'm at school, my teachers are looking out for me. You know, my teachers have my best interests at heart. And yes, a lot of teachers died or got turned into zombies. So, you know, there weren't a lot of teachers left. But we even see with the people that are left, you know, like, you know, the teacher that was brought up, that Leah brought up, who did try and do her best, you know, to keep the infighting down and to, you know, keep everybody's humanity and to keep everybody as safe as possible. But she was only one person. Every adult on the outside decided we just need to let that happen and let it like kind of like contain it and like just cut our losses, even though all of the losses were kids.
And even the principal let them down. The principal was just trying to contain it. He didn't want anyone to know. He could have maybe helped them from the beginning and prevented the outbreak, and he didn't, because he didn't give a shit and he just wanted the school to look good.
Right.
So
like this, actually, the virus and what happens is the fault of adults. So the principal never took proper care also of the bully problem at his school and swept the bully situations under the rug. So as a result, the dad / teacher, Lee Byung-chan, he created the Jonas virus because he was trying to solve the problem of his son being bullied and, you know, creating like, you know, some sort of serum to like increase his bravery. So we have 2 adult fails right out of the gate. Then we have the adults trying to control the news getting out and causing a larger panic. So they're jamming the signals. So the kids have no way of communicating and telling their stories or having their voices heard. Then they botch a rescue on the roof in the most heartbreaking way. And so I'm not going to get into it too much because it's the spoilers, but we have like, you know, we have botched rescues, no communication. And at the very end, I don't think that this is a big spoiler either. We have one of the leads, Ojo. She's really clear on her feelings in the refugee camp when she says, I'll never trust another adult again. All right. Well, now how about let's just shift gears, you know, and go from doom and gloom and death and mistrust to our favorite part of every episode, which is our K-pop rec of the week. And Megan, what do you have for us this week?
Okay, so this week, let's go back to Stray Kids. We haven't done Stray Kids in a while.
Yes.
And they just had a comeback. It's so funny. Stray Kids songs, I always feel like when I first listen to them, I'm like, eh. And then the second play, I'm like, oh, I'm obsessed. Like, okay. Now I'm really into it. So their current comeback is called Case 143, which 143 means I love you, because I, and then love is 4 letters, and then you is 3 letters. And yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. It's fun. They're killing it. Already got their first music show win. So yeah, check it out. Case 143 by Stray Kids.
If you enjoy our podcast, you have our patrons to thank, at least in part. Afternoona Delight Patreon allows us to keep creating content for y'all to enjoy. Thank you so much to everyone who is supporting us there. And not to brag, but our Patreon community is pretty awesome. And you can join at a tier that feels good to you. Gain access to fun perks like K-drama posts, monthly Patreon-only bonus podcasts, and even a live K-drama support group on Zoom. Because we know firsthand what it's like to have no one to talk to about those crazy plot twists, amazing characters, and all those feelings. And look, no one should have to walk that walk alone. So learn more by visiting afternoonadelight.com. That's www.afternoonadelight.com. And hey, while you're on the website, you can check out Afternoona Delight podcast merch, find links to book recommendations, bop along to our K-pop Rex, glow up your skin with K-merch Rex, find all of our social media, and a link to our email so you can send us recommendations or feedback. And hey, while you're at it, why don't you pop over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review? It really helps with our discoverability. 감사합니다.
Okay, so now we're going to move into the spoiler section, although, like I said, we kind of already gave spoilers in the non-spoiler. This is really
nothing
hard.
Major.
Okay?
Nothing major.
Nothing major. But this is, I mean, there's, like I said, there's a lot going on. And also, even if you think something happens, it might not have ended up happening, blah, blah, blah. So, but this is when we're going to go full out and really get into the nitty gritty. So the cool thing about zombie movies and dramas is that they often introduce some sort of new lore or tweak an old one. So the drama Happiness had a different take on zombiedom, and All of Us Are Dead introduces half zombies, who the characters sometimes called Hambies. They are impervious to pain, pretty much. And while they have a taste for flesh, they have human consciousness and reasoning skills. So what did you think about this twist? And why was Gui Nam, played by Yoo In-soo, a character we love to hate?
Oh my gosh, this was such a cool twist. I think they did feel pain. They just kept getting back up.
You're right.
Because, like...
Well, they couldn't die.
Right, they couldn't die. They couldn't die. They could experience pain, and they would kind of, like, die for a little bit and then come back. But anyway... Yeah. So, like, not only was this an amazing twist, but it was, like, the way it was so subtly revealed was fantastic. You think Gui Nam is dead, being devoured by zombies, and then he awakens, like, guts spilling out, missing an eye. The eye wasn't from zombies, but he's missing an eye. And he's just, like, fine. And he's, like, himself. So from here, you know basically that you know nothing, Jon Snow. And this drama could go any which way, so stop trying to figure it out and predict the ending, because that's like my MO. And I love being right, but I also love when I can't figure something out. And that's what this drama was. And Gui Nam, oh my gosh, he was a bully who was scared that he didn't matter. He spent his human teen life being the head bully sort of lackey, and now he has all this power, and the only way to feed his starved psyche or ego is to flex it. So flex his power. So our beloved Cheong San has his number, and that makes Gui Nam home in on him. His only goal to make Cheong San suffer. Cheong San also is the reason why he's missing an eye, so there's that too. But I mean, like, when you're in a battle for your life, you're going to poke a guy's eye out. So this is like the best, worst kind of villain. Like one who is single-minded, without real logical reason, hell-bent on killing the hero, no matter how many times he gets pushed off of a building. And like has his little short zombie death and then gets back up and is like, God damn, I got to go find him again.
And then like fixes his limbs.
Yes.
And it's like,
oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah. So great. So great. Look, I loved Gui Nam. Like, I would scream like to myself watching All of Us Are Dead, because he was just such a freaking good zombie villain. And it was a really good twist, because you think he's going to die in that library. He's basically lying there without an eye. The zombies are feasting on him. And then, you know, it goes to like a different scene, and then it comes back to him and his one eye opens and you're like, holy shit. It's such a good twist.
But even then you think he's just going to be a zombie, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's true. You think he's going to be a zombie, and then you realize, you see him like walking and he's like, wait a minute. Like, I know who I am.
Right. And he's like looking at his like,
but he's
injuries,
looking at his
like
it's like injuries where he should be dead. Yeah, I just loved how bad he was. You know, walking around that school with his one bloody eye. I mean, just
and his mullet, so like,
and that's another thing too. He had like the best haircut. He had those like dirty Vans or whatever.
He reminded me of the uncle from
Move to Heaven. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, yeah, he had like same haircut, same And look, I think he's like almost the worst kind of bully, because he's like the sub bully.
Right.
You know, he's the one who is like, again, like Amy said, like the lackey to the head bully. And he knows like he's kind of bullied by his, you know, supposed friend. And he also knows his position is tenuous. If he fucks up, he can easily be replaced by another lackey. So when he finally gets a taste of power as his big, bad, Hamby self, he's just unstoppable, relentless, and drunk on human flesh power. And it's incredible. It's incredible. When he kills the head bully, or actually lets the head bully die.
He pushes him out of the hiding place, yeah.
He's freaking fantastic.
So I haven't watched The Terminator, but I feel like Guinan is like what I know the baddie in that franchise to be, like the one who just like keeps coming back, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
So the dead don't die. But I feel like what really keeps Guinan from going full one note is that he actually has very clear goals, motivation, and conflict.
Yeah.
So we talked about this in like the beat sheeting. Like this is a character who like, you know, has like a very clear GMC. He wants Cheong San to die. And he wants Cheong San to die because for a couple of reasons. One is that Cheong San knows that he killed the principal, but he also has his number, like, you know, what Amy and Megan have said in terms of understanding his psychological wounds of not being enough, and that, like, you know, he bullies others because deep down he's less than, and he's always been like the number 2 man, and, you know, he's pretty fucking damaged. And even in the final showdown with Cheong San, we see him have like little zombie Hamby tears coming down his cheeks as Cheong San calls him out. Mm-hmm. And the other thing about a character like him that I think works well is that he's organized chaos, like layered on a world of pure chaos.
Yes.
So, you know, just when it feels like our heroes can have a chance by grappling with the fact that, you know, the zombies are deadly, but they're not very smart. We get this sentient, ruthless version to fuck up everything and always turn up at the exact wrong time. And so, yeah, I just think that also really matters. It's like the fact that, like, yeah, this organized force of chaos with like very clear goals, motivation, and conflict.
Yeah, I love every time like there's a lull and they think they're safe. Guinan just like climbs over the wall. He's like, here I am.
I'm back. Yeah. I'm back, baby. So while Guinan is the zombie villain, Lee Na-yeon, played by Lee Yu-mi, who, by the way, was in Squid Game. She's the one who played Marbles in one of the games.
She's in Extraordinary Attorney Woo, too.
Oh, okay. She was great. So Lee Na-yeon is the human villain, other than the adults who are terrible. She's like the human student villain. So she infects Kyung-soo, one of the students, because she considers him lower class than her. And so with good reason, she is shunned by her classmates after they find out the truth. So what did you think about her arc, that when she finally decided to help her classmates, Guinan chomps her neck?
I mean, karma's a bitch named Guinan.
He is, isn't he?
I mean, though I do admit that my hope was that she would turn into a Hamby and basically be like our good guy's ace in the hole, like her little shot at redemption, because she did have remorse. But what she did was so horrible that I don't think that anybody could have forgiven her. Like, that was a completely reprehensible act. Like, and she, and I feel like had she gotten away with it, she never would have admitted it. Mm-hmm. So it was only because she was called on it and she couldn't lie, really. Like, everybody just kind of knew.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say that the fact that she infects Kyung-soo felt almost too bad. Like, yes, he is a, quote, wealthy, which is a horrid word, but one she uses to describe him as like a student on welfare. But like, did she truly want to death sentence him? Like, and maybe this is Megan, one of the things where it feels like, you know, they're kids, but I mean, like, they're not that. I mean, like, you know, my son is younger than them, and my daughter, like, my kids aren't gonna like murder someone because they're like poor. So I mean, like, I feel like it makes her bad and unforgivable. And I do think, although this is a minor quibble, I wish there was something with more interesting intent here than just class warfare, and maybe some like more gray area that, like, you know, instead I just felt like it just felt too evil. And I thought she was going to turn into a half B as well. But then I did also think it seemed unlikely given the fact that Guinam really seemed intent on like truly consuming her. So I do. Okay. So with this,
he was like eating.
Yeah, he really was. It was like a, it was buffet.
It was chomping.
Yeah. So to be a half-bee, you need to be bitten. But if you are fully chomped, you die and become a full zombie, right? Because we also see the archer Guinam.
I don't know if we know actual rules here yet.
Well, because we see the archer get bit and he starts turning into a half-bee in the gym. But then later, when the bombs go off, we see he's fully zombie as well. Because I think that Guinam went back and like actually chomped him too.
I honestly, I don't think we know the rules. Because what about the girl who got bullied, who turned into like the Hamby? Like she got chomped a little bit more. Like they were, like I don't know.
I don't think it's about how much you get eaten. I really think it's about like genetic makeup. Like I truly believe
like it's how you react to the virus.
It's how you react to the virus.
Yeah.
So I think some people are going to just I think that's the way it is. Like,
it's not explained.
I don't think it matters.
It is left to our interpretation right now.
It is.
But who chomps her? Who chomps her? The Unjin.
I think just a zombie.
Okay. She's like she's in that. Was it the lab that she was in, or the classroom? I don't remember what it was.
Yeah,
she's trying to get. She's trying to break. She's trying to like destroy the phone that has the video of her on it.
Yeah. So I do though think that I appreciated the meaningless of Na Yun's story because she condemns a hated classmate to a horrific death. Then a beloved teacher dies saving her life. And as this teacher is getting eaten, urges Na Yun to put things right. So Na Yun finally decides to do the right thing and find her classmates and bring them food supplies. And then she dies alone, no one ever knowing that she sought redemption. And, like that shit's hard. But I think, in real life, there's lots of hard moments where, there's just there's no silver lining to some clouds.
You just die unredeemed.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree with that. I mean, she did have an arc, but in a way, I guess, in my opinion, it's a lesson about not being a little shit because redemption isn't always promised. Like, you're not always going to get the time to, I don't know how you can say you're sorry that you infected
a totally innocent sweet boy.
A totally innocent sweet boy just because, he's poor or whatever.
You had to, like, talk to him. That's the thing is I was like, what did he...
I know.
Yeah. I mean, I will just say one thing about plot, slight inconsistency, because I'm not sure about this. Because she, basically, how she infected him was he had a cut. Okay? He had, like, a cut from, like, something else. Like, it was like he cut himself on a door. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. And there was, like, a wooden stake that someone had stabbed a bunch of zombies with, so it had zombie blood. And so she wiped her tissue on the zombie blood and then touched his wound, and that turned him. And I was kind of like, look, these people are eating blood when they're fighting zombies. Like, the amount of blood.
No, she was pretending to take care of him. She had to go apologize.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And then she's dabbing at his boo-boo.
But I just mean, like, if that minor bit of blood transfer turned him,
well, yeah,
they would have all been zombies.
Because I did wonder that too.
Right, like if anybody had
in their mouths half the time.
Yeah.
Oh my god, open mouths, blood in their mouths. I was like, okay, I mean, I'm going to let it, I let it go. It's fine, but I just feel like I needed to say something about that because I was kind of like, oh.
Right, they're like sprayed with blood. Like
sprayed with blood. It absolutely, like, I just remember that the one, I think it's in 28 Days Later, where it's like the dad of the kid and he stands below this like scaffolding and there's a zombie on the scaffolding and one drop of blood, and it's like a really cool like shot. One drop of blood comes down and splashes him in the eye. And that's it. He's done. And so I think about that all the time when I watch zombie movies because I'm like, that shit's getting in your eyes. But that's not the point. Like, you got membranes everywhere, right. Okay?
And here's the thing, too, this is a non sequitur, but I don't think we talk about it anywhere else. When the Hambi, especially Guinam, like, is chomping people, like, there is a lot of flesh he spits. Like, I mean, like, he's, like, he'll, like, kind of, like, spit out chunks. Like, nom, 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 and then, like, you'll see, like, whole mouthfuls of, like, body parts just kind of like plopping out of
you're
him.
wasting your food, buddy. No, I'm just kidding.
But it's almost like he like chewed it up, got the juice out, and then but there's just a lot of like there's a lot of just like spitting out pieces of body parts.
He's a wasteful chomper. He eats like a pig.
Okay. And actually, before we continue, I just want to say one thing. I will say, like, trigger warning for extreme bullying and even like some sexual violence. Just because this isn't really spoiler. Well, we're in the spoiler section anyway. But if you're still here and you haven't seen the drama, at one point the bullies make a girl take off her clothes and they videotape it
at the very beginning.
Yeah, I just want to say, I mean, that was even like triggering for me, and I haven't personally experienced anything like that, but it was rough. So I just want to say that. Okay, so the title of the drama, as I said, is All of Us Are Dead, and let's face it, a lot of characters die. So what death either surprised you the most or hit you the hardest?
I've got a couple here. I couldn't keep it to one. I mean, I don't think...
I know, you listed like...
I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, I don't think any of us believe that Cheong San is dead, but there's no body, there's nothing. But like, it was a very emotional scene. Like he sacrificed himself for his friends. And so that, I mean, it's funny because I was watching this with my 13-year-old son who loves Walter White. And I kept worrying about Cheong San every episode because of Guinam. And my son's like, don't worry, he's got plot armor. He's going to be fine. Like, he's the main character, right? Whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but not in this show. You can't, but he's coming back. That's my whatever. But Jun Young, my nerdy little planner, at his end, like, he knew that they were making the wrong decision with how to use the cage when they were trying to like travel, in their little makeshift cage. And when he got bit, he could have been like, enacted some like quick "I told you so" revenge, but that's not him. Instead, he fends off the zombies like as they're eating him, so that his friends can escape.
Oh, I hated that death.
I know. And then, I mean, I told you I wanted to be the parent that, that made it and hopefully helped the kids. But like, I can't believe we watched this entire drama with Nam So-ju going to find Anjo and like literally like 90 seconds after he saves the kids, he gets chomped on the tennis court.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Like, that didn't surprise me, but it was just so like he achieved his goal and I was happy for him. But it was just so like that was all she had left, like she had
then
the
hope.
Then
the shot of Soju and then the Cheong San's chicken mom, chicken like mom. They like pass each other on the tennis courts as zombies.
Yes.
Like,
and it's just
and like and also Jun Young had like just died.
Yes.
So it's like we got that, and then they like
literally
like
just died. Like they just got out of the
double
gym.
Whammy.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, again, I get it. Like I think it goes with the plot. It's genius writing, but it's like, I think a lot of the adults who didn't help, like that was their sort of view. Like, even if I make it there, I'm just going to get, eaten by a zombie. So what's even the point? And I think he knew, that he probably would not survive this, but as long as he made it to Anjo, and he did. And yeah, it was awful.
So yeah, echoing that Cheong San is not dead. And I don't even think it's wishful thinking. First, like, he's probably a zombie.
I hope so.
We know they don't die, and then it's a good setup for season 2. So all the character deaths ultimately got me one way or the other, but I'm going to go with the first one that impacted me, where I kind of just knew like, oh shit, man. And that was Anjo's bestie, Isak. And so I think what the show did well was it had these moments of like slow dawning horror of the bitten, who like know their time is at hand. Like how you were talking about like the zombie blood getting in the eye. Like, once they get bitten, they just like, no, that's it. And then there's the reactions to those around them, like often not wanting to believe what is about to go down. So we have Anjo holding her best friend's hand, feeling it getting cold. Then we see Isak's nose start bleeding as the world begins to turn red for her, because we begin to kind of see like how they would see as a zombie. And they even share like a final hug as you're like, oh my God, really? Like, let it go. And then Isak fully transforms and begins to attack her and gets pushed out the window. And Anjo still can't let go. This is early in the drama. And she still can't quite believe like the horror is real and happening, and that her best friend is a zombie who just got pushed out the window, is dangling like, cliffhanger by one hand, and, needs to be let go. And, Cheong San like bangs her, with a chair and like sends her on her way. And then the other one that really got me was, a very quick moment where we see the high schooler who gives secret birth in the bathroom. And then she ends up bitten with her newborn, who is not bitten. And she somehow makes this like very quick thinking moment to like put him in a seat in an abandoned chicken shop. And with her last bits of sanity, kind of like tie herself to a door that like was helped. She kind of like helped like lock the door by tying herself to it. And that was it. Like, you know, she put her baby as far away from her as she could and became a zombie.
Yeah, there's like I forget what the movie is called, but there's a movie like that where the father turns into a zombie and he has to get his baby to safety. So he has the baby in the back, on his back in a carrier, and he has a pole tied, dangling a piece of meat in front of his face.
Oh my gosh.
In the direction he's supposed to go. Because, he knows he's turning, he rigs this whole thing up, and then stumbles as a zombie straight forward in the direction he has to go with his baby on his back. And it kind of reminded me a bit of that. I've never seen the full movie. I've just seen like clips, but because I just don't think I can handle it. Mm-hmm. But agreed that scene was incredible.
It was very powerful.
And they find her later and she's a full zombie and
just
she's
snarling.
trying to get, she's snarling. She's trying to get to that baby. But because she had tied herself, and she's like bloody from where she's pulling on the binds, and it's crazy. And the baby survives, by the way. Just at least that,
as far as we know.
Well, it's right. Yeah.
Can we back up 1 second? Because did I hear Leah make a cliffhanger reference?
Yes, you did, which I have not seen, but I do know.
Sylvester Stallone, cliffhanger. The beginning of the movie, he's holding his girlfriend off of a cliff because she fell. They're like rappelling or something like that in a mountain, and that's how the movie opens. Spoiler alert! It's from like 1989. That's how the movie cliffhanger opens. Is he has to she has to let go. Like he can't pull her up. I can't believe that you made that reference. I'm like, there's no way Leah. Like, there's no way Leah saw cliffhanger.
No, I haven't, but it is famous.
I saw it.
It is. Yeah, well, you guys like took everyone, but
I'm sorry. Fine. I'm sorry. I was just like, these are all.
It's okay.
I know.
I
don't follow the rules.
Yeah, Cheong San is not dead. He's just not. I never thought he was. I mean, I cried at the final scene because he's not. He's never going to be human again. Like, I mean, he's been bitten.
Right.
He lost an eye. Like he's fucked up.
Yeah, Guinam got his eye. Eye for an eye.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
That felt like Game of Thrones. That was like a real finger in the eye.
I have to admit, I think I fast forwarded because I was like, I can't handle this. My Cheong San.
No.
I watched the whole thing,
but agree. I mean, he's got Anjo's, name badge. Like, oh my god, I'm sorry. The scene, the scene where she goes back to that like burnt building and she's calling his name. Like, shoot me in the head. I was crying.
I know.
So hard.
I know.
Anyway. So I think I actually didn't realize that Amy mentioned Anjo's dad. So I was going to mention him, but
I'm sorry.
It's okay. But I will say we mentioned Cheong San's mom. So I'll just she refused to stay at her chicken shop, but she ran, or I'm sorry, in her scooter, the like slow delivery.
She jumped on the slow scooter,
and she's wearing like loafers and her apron. I mean, it's like, oh, lady. God, at least
this would be you, Megan. This would be you.
This would be me. So, she gets chomped like right at the school. So she's at the school. And there's a scene where it's like raining outside. The kids make it out of the school, but they're still like on the school grounds. And they're like fighting zombies. And all of a sudden a zombie appears in front of them and it's Cheong San's mom. And when he sees her, holy shit. Like my heart stopped. Because it wasn't even just like of course you're upset his mom dies, but then to see his reaction, the whole thing felt like, compounded it was on my heart.
It was so hard. It was so hard to watch that.
It was so hard. And they were like, there's zombies coming. They're trying to get him away. And he's just like, Ma, like, oh, Ma. I mean, it's just, he wants to like go to her and he can't because she's a zombie. Mm-hmm. And then, Anjo's dad, as Amy said, I mean, he risked his life traipsing across this zombie-ridden city to rescue his daughter and her friends at just the right moment. Because remember, they were in that locked gym. Mm-hmm. They were in that like cage.
Things were not looking good.
Things were looking terrible. The door was locked from the outside with like chains.
And as they bang on the door, then more zombies are coming. Because I'm like, when this opens, we're in real trouble.
And then the doors fly open. And I'm pretty sure that was like the
It
end
was
of
the
an
end of the
episode.
episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
So of course I'm like binging this thing like crazy to get to the next episode, and it's her dad. He had basically like heard them, made it on the grounds on time, flung the doors open, and saved them, only to then
like 90 seconds later.
like a minute later he gets chomped, and Amy's right. This like one thing that they did at like the end of this drama was they showed all the like the former humans that you knew as characters as zombies. They like show them on the grounds, and it's heartbreaking because you're like, oh my god, that's Cheong San's mom, that's her dad, that's this kid, and you're just like, and like Leah had mentioned, there's this zombie that has his leg stuck in a traffic cone. And she was like, I think you like messaged us about it. You're like, this is pretty funny. And
he came by like 4 times.
He did. And it was like it was funny too, because it was like bop, 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 bop. Like you would hear his like cone like tapping the ground
as he wandered past. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought, because a lot of times too, they don't like revisit. Like people are turned to zombies and that's just it.
But these like a lot of them were just going around the quarters of the school.
Yeah. Okay, so if you haven't figured it out yet, this drama is relentless, gory, and thrilling. So what was your favorite zombie fight scene?
So I love this one. This is Cheong San and Guinam in the library. I mean, poor library. But what an amazingly choreographed scene. Like when I see fight scenes like this, I'm like, somebody conceptualized this, like could visualize this and then make it happen. And it is seriously like a spectacle to behold. So they are running across the tops of shelves, zombies below, shelves falling. At this point, Guinam is still human and trying to kill Cheong San. And so it's like the double antagonist situation where you think, that Cheong San finally wins, and then Guinam goes like full Hamby, and you know that like nothing's ever going to be the same, because it's not just the zombies that are the stupid, mindless zombies that are the problem. Now you have somebody who is like fully coming for our hero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like the visual of that scene, oh my gosh.
Incredible. I think that the library scene's I think it is my favorite. It is so good. And because I think you have to remember, basically Cheong San has essentially a video, right? Doesn't he have like a video? Or either way, he knows that Guinam killed the principal. And I feel like at that time
he was there.
The kids,
he was there. He tried to talk him out of it.
He was there.
Yeah, he tried to talk him out of it.
So I think he doesn't have like, I feel like the kids at this point don't have the concept that this is long term. Like, to a degree, no one gives a shit if he killed the principal. Like, everyone's dead. But at this point, he doesn't realize that. He still thinks, oh my god, I'm going to be punished for killing the principal. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it just turns into, single-minded, whatever. So I think the runner-up is the cafeteria scene. Yeah. So this is like episode 1, or 2. This is the beginning. I think it's episode 1. It's at the very beginning. So this is basically when the zombie horde makes its first appearance en masse. And I need to give like credit to the filming crew, the cinematographer, the director, because the way the scenes were shot, I felt like I was there. Like the camera pans, it is incredible. It is. I feel like that's when I was like, okay, this is probably my favorite zombie movie or zombie drama, zombie anything, because it was so incredibly visceral. And it was just absolute chaos. Absolute chaos. Because, again, no one knew what was going on. The zombies had just showed up. I can't imagine what filming this was like, because it was just insanity.
Like, so many extras.
Mm-hmm. So many extras. I mean, the cafeteria was packed. There were a million zombies.
And they're all in, like, full, like, zombie makeup, right? So imagine, like, the effort of, like, hair and makeup and costuming and all, like,
crazy.
So well done.
It would be very, very fun to have been an extra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, I like the scene that we talked about, which was the gym with the carts. I felt like, they made a pretty good plan for a shitty situation, honestly, except for then when they got out and realized that they couldn't really push against all the zombies. So I just liked visually how it was. I liked like the creativity of, the gym carts and everything like that. But I do want to pull over and just take a minute, because I haven't gotten to unpack something I really want to talk about, and it's about Hambies. And so I need to just get on this. So one thing that surprised me was once I saw Namra sort of being in control of being a Hambi, I personally would have been very tempted to be like, dude, bite me. Just give me a little nibble. Because then I would have what seems to be...
But you don't know. You don't...
See, I feel like, you know, we know the certain end is coming of being a zombie. Like, I feel like, you know, like most... I would feel like very high probability I'm going to be a zombie. So I was just surprised that nobody else was like, fuck. Like,
try to turn me into a Hambi.
Yeah, give me a bite. Turn me into a Hambi. Like, I'd much rather be a Hambi than a zombie.
Yeah, I mean...
So I was just surprised, like, because I think I would have been like, it's looking very dire. Just fucking
it's looking very dire.
You know, I mean, like, I would think I would rather take my chances. And I
don't think she would have been able to control herself though. Like she had not actually eaten anybody, right? Like, so I don't.
Yeah, that's another thing.
I'm saying that like desperate times, desperate measures. I'd be like, I'll tie you up, but like you gotta bite. Like, you know, we're all going down the line.
I'm logicking it.
Okay.
And then I was even more surprised at how underutilized she was because, like, she's a Hambi. So, like, why wasn't she the one selected to go on the roof and lure the other zombies? When they're like, who should go? Who should go? I'm like, well, clearly Namra. Like, get her ass up on the roof. She's immune.
But they're not drawn to her. She can't lure them.
Well, if she made noises, they would have gone up, and then they would have been like, maybe. Oh, not you.
That's true.
But, you know.
Oh, not you.
You don't smell good. I can't eat you.
But, you know, I expected her to have some more big fight scenes, but I think that's coming in season 2.
Yeah, I think she was first coming into her own, like, in the very end. Right. Like, I don't think she knew what she was capable of.
I thought it was badass and horrible when she broke Woo Jin's neck. Nobody gave Woo Jin a shout out. Poor Woo Jin.
I loved Woo Jin. He was so cute.
Yeah, and he like zombied out at like the very end. Like, you know, he's almost at the line. And then he's like, God damn it. He's like, I knew this was happening.
I know, Woo Jin, I'm sorry.
And and so she like broke the neck, and I'm like, yeah, good. Finally, like Namra was like, because the whole time I was like, oh my God, like Namra, like go do some scouting. Like, you know, they're all like, what should we do? What should we do? I'm like, I don't know. Send Namra walking around the building.
That's true too. Like, yeah, let her be the drone.
Yeah, let her go bring stuff back. Like, let her go get, like, whatever.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. I thought, when I was watching this, I thought the big showdown was going to be between Guinam and, what was the bullied girl's name? The girl who was bullied. I forget. But I thought it was going to be between them, or I thought there was going to be a big showdown between them. And then I thought it was going to be between Guinam and Namra. And that's what I did too. You don't know where this is gonna go. Yeah, Unji. You just don't know where it's gonna go.
There basically was not a Hambi showdown.
There wasn't, and that's why I was like,
they had some fight scenes, but like Namra was not really into like fighting that much.
Yeah, because I really don't think she knew what she was. Hambi showdown. Yeah, I feel like she was like coming into her power, understanding. Because like Guinam, I feel like he like had a little bit more practice. I feel like
he also embraced his power quickly, and he wasn't caring if he was a murderer.
Right. Yeah, that's another thing. He didn't care, so she was like trying to stifle it, and I do think that weakened her because I think they like showed that a lot of times. So, but we'll learn more. Cheong San is a green flag hero. Discuss why. We just have to. I know we already discussed him, but I don't care. We're doing it more.
I know. Okay, so Yoon Chan-young played him to perfection. Like, despite his desperate crush on his best friend Anjo, he doesn't try to manipulate her into liking him. He stands by and watches her crush on Soo-hyuk, played by the dreamy Loman or Park Soloman. He supports her as a best friend through the whole zombie ordeal and only admits his feelings when he fears it might be his last chance to do so. Despite her confusion and not immediately returning his feelings, he stands by her. He lets her comfort him when they find his mom is a zombie, and he comforts her when she loses her dad. And at the end, when she finally admits that she loves him too and gives him, you know, like the name, is it a badge, sash, whatever?
Yeah, the name tag.
Yeah, the name tag, thanks. And he's been bitten. He stays behind to hold off Guinam while she escapes. And while he's doing this, like jumping into like an empty elevator shaft with Guinam, he screams throughout the building that he is the happiest guy in school because she loves him and she kissed him. Like, he is willingly expediting his own death that didn't happen because just knowing that she loves him is enough. And this is why he is not dead and will be back as an amazing Hamby in season 2.
Yeah, I mean, you summed it up. He's just so wholesome and a total green flag. The action hero shit he did this drama was like next level.
Oh my gosh.
He was like climbing through shafts in the building to try to get a signal on his phone. It was, I mean, I cried during that, or I'm sorry, his death scene or pseudo death scene was emotional warfare. I cried. I felt happy he was happy, and then I felt anger as he and Guinam tore each other apart. The feelings in that final showdown will stick with me for a long time, and it's one of the reasons I love this drama so much, because even in that final battle, we got character development and motivations.
Mm-hmm. And I think that this is like one thing too. I mean, if you're this far in, you know, you already kind of know, but like there's like, this is a zombie show first and foremost, but there's like a very sweet YA love stories going through.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. That's perfect. Yes. Yes. Yes.
And so I think like, you know, I don't have much more to add except for the fact that like, yes, I did not like seeing his eye get gouged out at all. I did. And you know what? He is dead. Like, even if he's coming back, like his humanity,
yes,
like he'll save some parts of it, I'm assuming, but like, you know, he's not going to be the same.
Yeah, he's forever altered.
I don't know if can you reproduce with a Hamby?
I don't know.
It's a whole new race.
Oh god.
Yeah.
We'll find out. Maybe.
The other romance was between Lee Soo-hyuk, played by newcomer Park Solomon, and Choi Nam-ra, played by Choi Yi-hyun, who I loved her, by the way. She was just such a great actress. Mm-hmm. Did this romance hit you in the feels? And yeah, what do you think about Nam-ra's ending?
I loved them. I loved her. Like, she was so focused on her studies and she was the class president. She never had any friends, and everyone thought that she was superior to them. So they like pretty much shunned her. Like, they, you know, nobody like knew her at all, but she was really just like shy and awkward. And I loved that once she was bitten, that he trusted that she wouldn't hurt him or any of them after she'd been bitten. Like, he, you know, basically lobbied to keep her with them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I love that when she was having trouble fighting off the urge, that he offered to be her sacrifice so that she wouldn't hurt anybody else.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
And she didn't want to hurt him or any of her friends, so she ran away when the bloodlust became too much. And the ending... So I already knew that season 2 was happening. So when she, you know, calls them back to the roof to have a school bonfire with her friends again, and she's, you know, she doesn't have the red in her eyes anymore, so you know that she's been feeding, like, somehow she's got, like, her, you know, her bloodlust under control, and, like, holy mother forking shirt balls, she jumps off the building at the end, like, last scene. Like, she's like fucking Black Widow. If I didn't know there was going to be a season 2 at that point, I would have lost my mind. Like, Megan, how did you survive that? Because there was no season 2 announcement when you saw that.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I started to have this like sneaking suspicion during the last, and I'm not like trying to be like,
no,
oh,
you
I'm
did.
so
You
smart.
said you're like, there's stuff that is left unfinished.
Yeah, I'm just like, and it was even towards like the last half. I was like,
how are they going to wrap it up in 12 episodes? Yeah.
Yeah, we know story structure. I'm just like, they're setting something up. They're doing something here that they don't intend to wrap up. There's just no way. And the last episode was, for me, this was an interesting last episode for me. Again, I've watched a lot of like zombie stuff, and they all kind of have sort of this like similar vibe. But this was different. This was like somber, but there was this like simmering undercurrent of resentment and even revolution, which I was like, something's happening. And so when she called them to the rooftop, and the fact that all she wanted to do was sit around a fire with her friends, like that whole thing killed me. And she said there were others like her, and she jumped off the building. I was like, there's season 2. Like, I just, like, fight me if there's not. And I kind of overall love that ending for all the cast, but also that romance, because it just sort of felt happy for now, because they know each other's feelings. They just can't be together now. So I have hope that there can be a human and a Hamby union. You know,
they're dying into, but I do. So here's one thing. It was like, I thought it was super cool, and then I was like, but they didn't really chill by that campfire, did they? Like, she basically was like, hey, and I'm out.
I'm flying off the building.
So, yeah. And here's another question is that when do we really see that, like, Soo-hyuk has the feelings for Nam-ra? Like, is it before the zombies come? Because, like, I missed something where, like, all of a sudden they were just, like, he was into her, clearly.
Oh, no, the very first episode, he's into her. Remember, she has, like, her headphones in?
She doesn't even hear the zombies
talk to her.
And then the zombies are coming.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the zombies are literally running, and he's like, we
right.
need to run.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I like...
See, he always kind of had a crush.
So here's the thing about him, is that, like, I feel like he's, like, Megan's type, because he's, like, athletic and smart and sweet, but he also, like, took orders from women like a champ the whole time.
Yeah.
I also liked when they were up on the abandoned building towards the very end, and they were going to, like, do their Scooby-Doo, like, we need to sleuth around. So we have, like, the two senior girls, and they're like, okay, we're going to go. And then he's like, no, I'll go. And the one was just like, sit your ass down. He's like, okay. Like, just does.
He was basically like Yi-hun's from Happiness little brother.
Yes.
Like that. He truly was. He was definitely.
So, you know, I did want more of a confession when he went back for her, when she was eating the dead body out of desperation, actually. Like, you know, I thought that would be a time, like, stay alive, I will find you.
With her, like bloody mouth.
Yeah, Last of the Mohicans, as she's, like, eating the corpse. But, you know, I can be patient. I do feel like...
Yeah.
Look, I'm pretty sure that the Hombies, if I can make my guess, I think we're going to see some Twilight parallels where we're going to have, like, Cheong San and Nam-ra. I think they're going to be, like, eating squirrels.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking too. I'm thinking that they're eating animals for sure.
Yeah, they're running around, like, chomping on, like, wildlife.
Yeah. Well, as you said, All of Us Are Dead has already been greenlit for season 2. Like, are you happy about it? And what do you want to see? In
I guess I just shared what I wanted to see.
I think we've.
want to see them eating squirrels?
Like, I do. I want what we didn't get here, and I think it's purposeful that we didn't get the Hamby showdown. Like, we need the organized Hambys now, right? Which we have.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to the Hamby showdown.
Yeah, I mean, same. I first want to say I am happy there's season 2, and I rarely say that. But this was one of the few dramas where I was like, you're clearly setting up a greater world and a greater, like,
the
lore.
world building is amazing, right? The world building and the lore building is amazing. Like, it's not...
and there's definitely stuff at
they're not, like,
the government level that they haven't explored yet. And that's why I was like, let's get to it.
I really didn't... And I will say the thing I was probably least invested, the whole drama, was the... I mean, it was fine. It wasn't very much, was the assembly woman.
Yeah.
I was always like, yeah. Like, let's get...
Oh, yeah, I didn't care about her either. Yeah, I agree.
You know, I kind of get why they showed her, but I didn't care at all.
Yeah.
So in final things to discuss, I think the only thing I really want to share is Eunji. Where is she? So this is the victim in, like, season 1 or episode 1. We see she's a victim of some pretty horrid sexual abuse through non-consensual, like, naked photos being taken of her. And then she is like, so right now we know for sure there's 3 half-bees at play. And so it's Nam-ra, Guinam, and then her. And she also doesn't seem to have much hold on her humanity. Like, she jettisoned it pretty fast. Like, we see her eat because she is asymptomatic and she's brought into the refugee camp. And then we see her encounter, like, the other student who had been bullied with her. And she just, like, eats him. Like, right away.
She's like, fuck you, man.
Did she escape?
And so then they put her into an enclosure,
right.
And she's in the enclosure all the time, just like, I'm hungry, and, like, gets out of her, like, bindings and is, like, slamming in the windows.
That's
and
right.
Then later we just see that room empty.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I don't think she does escape, but, like, I just, like...
I don't think she escapes. I think they did something with her, but I don't think she's dead.
Yeah, I don't think she's dead either.
But that's another, like, open... Like, they clearly left open plot lines, and it didn't feel like, oh, they just missed it. Mm-hmm. Like, it felt intentional that they left these plot lines open. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, because remember, she got out of the school because she just picked up that abandoned bike and was just riding all bloody through the...
And then she got ran over by, like, the...
Oh, yeah, she got ran... Oh, shit, I forgot about that. Oh, God. And gets right up.
Yeah.
And they're like, holy shit. Yeah.
Yep.
But she was asymptomatic, so, like, everyone was just like, it's fine.
Until they learn.
And then she was the reason why they called off the rescue on the rooftop.
Thank you. I was like, we need to bring up the rooftop. Yeah, continue, please.
That rooftop was very difficult. So I guess, just with a non sequitur of something else that was difficult was getting winched onto a helicopter, having your arms put inside the helicopter, being like, yes, yes. And then they're like, abort, lower you back down. And
they're like, you could be asymptomatic. We don't know. We're leaving you here. And they didn't even give them supplies.
Nothing. Yeah, and then the guy is like, ordering him to shoot them.
Yep.
And I was like, well, why?
Horrible.
Yeah, that seemed excessive.
Horrible. Okay, on another note, I this is stupid, but I just want to give a shout out to the bathroom scene. I just love that they made...
Not a real bathroom scene.
No, but you don't get this in like a lot of like zombie stuff. I'm like, where are these people going to the bathroom? And so they were locked in this recording room and they had to go to the bathroom and there's no like bathroom in there and they can't leave because there's zombies in the hallway. And I guess they weren't like expelling tons because they hadn't, had anything to eat or drink, but still they had to go to the bathroom. And so they made like a toilet out of like cushions and stuff. And it was just very funny. And I love that they had to like deal with it. They had to be crafty.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then of course there's like comedic relief because it stinks. And that's the thing. There's like
a lot of comedy.
There's a lot of comedy and there's so much like humanity to moments like that. Mm-hmm. So that's why it just didn't feel like nonstop zombies and fighting that wasn't grounded in some reality, as weird as that might seem. Mm-hmm. It felt like, oh my God, this could happen to anyone because these are just regular people who have regular bowel movements like we all do. And I don't know. I happen to really like that scene.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah.
Well, good to end on a scene like that rather than, something sad.
Whew, that was fun to talk about. I will say, I'm really glad you guys liked it. I
loved it.
Yeah, loved it.
I was surprised because I was like, maybe Leah's just going to be like, all these deaths are stupid. Like sometimes Leah can go either way with dramas like this. So
I don't go either way if it's good.
That's true. And
I'm kidding.
Exactly.
I'm being an asshole.
But I was like, I wonder if she won't think this is good. So when you wrote to us and you're like, I'm loving this, I was so happy because I knew Amy really enjoyed it too. And again, I was like, if you didn't like it and like maybe made fun of it, I think I would have been a little heartbroken because I was like, I love these kids. Like they had, really wormed my heart.
I think it has broad appeal because like my son, who does not watch, K-drama, he watched this with me. It was one of those things like I got him to watch Train to Busan with me where he was like, I don't know, I'll try it. And we watched the first 10 minutes. He was like, all right, I'm in. So same thing with this. He's like, buddy, I need a buddy to watch this with because I'm going to get scared. And so he's like, I'll try it. And then he wanted to just binge. And so it's,
you said he did like it.
He loved it. Yeah, he loved it. Yeah. He'll watch season 2
That's
for
really
sure.
Cool.
I told him we were doing, I'm like, I'm so excited we're talking about All of Us Are Dead. He's like, ooh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That makes me happy.
All right. Well, I hope that everyone at home is having a great spooky season. Mm-hmm. And stay sexy and don't get bitten.
I love it. I have a shirt that says stay sexy and don't get murdered. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Till next time.
Annyeong.
Annyeong.
Kamsahamnida. Thank you for listening to Afternoona Delight. Where can you find us outside the pod? Head on over to afternoonadelight.com. That's AFTERNOONADELIGHT.com. You'll find links to all our social media, our book recs, K-pop and K-skincare recs, and if you want even more Afternoona Delight, because really who doesn't, you can join our Patreon, where you can choose the patron level that's right for you. Join in daily K-drama conversations, listen to bonus podcast episodes just for patrons, and participate in our monthly live K-drama support group via Zoom. We can't wait for you to be a part of the community. Until next time, annyeong!